It was early Sunday morning in a town of stone and coal, where a young boy's life was taken just beyond the Wilson Road. You could hear that awkward silence as it rang out from above, when the Lord called to his angels to embrace the boy with love. Then a mighty trumpet sounded in the sky, as the heavens shook and the thunder rained below. May you forever walk this earth and know that I know the secret that you've buried in your soul.
The body of 17-year-old Clayton Miller was found face down in a brook on May 6, 1990, 2 days after New Waterford police raided a teen party in the woods. Since then, 2 autopsies and an investigation and report released by the Nova Scotia Serious Incident Response Team on April 16th of this year have all ruled Clayton's death an accident. The Millers, however, maintain that Clayton was murdered and that authorities are deliberately covering up the truth.
That's the way he was. Cop is taking you into custody, you're out of control, okay? Yeah. Then I go like that, and he grabs my arm, and then I go like this, okay? And there's the way he was feeling. Just like concrete, you can lean him against the wall. And when he was in the brook, I'll show you how he was in the brook.
Like that. Dana, here's an interesting question. How shallow would the water have to be for no water to get into the open?
Well, here's the thing. Back here,
within less than an inch.
These were with water, okay? Then the water was about that deep, and it was roaring. And it went across, say that was the edge, it went across deep, say from here across to here. It was pretty, and then all of a sudden it tapered up to nothing, and the water was like here on him, and then along here, okay? And these were up on the shore on the other side. So I could kneel, but the cop was there, Neil Brian McKinnon. I went and got in the brook, I knelt here, and I just picked him up and held him to my chest, thinking I wasn't listening anyone. I laid him back down, and I got up like this, and I grabbed him by the shoulder and arm inside, and Tom the wire grabbed him, the other cop, the same way. We just struggled like this and rested his head on the dry land. That's what happened.
When you hear that mighty trumpet in the sky, and the heavens shake and the thunder rains below, may you forever walk this earth and know that I know the secrets that you carry in your soul.
The investigation is a farce. A cert needs to fold because cert's only been put in place to cover their own and continually sweep other things under the rug because you can't convict your own. Worst waste of taxpayers' money, as far as I'm concerned. Ron McDonald didn't interview the people that he was supposed to interview. If it was going to be a thorough investigation, everybody involved, all the names, every one of them. No stone should have went unturned.
This investigation I didn't think was very fair for the Millers because they've been waiting 25 years. And after 20 years, you're supposed to have the freedom of information, and they weren't released any of that, all of the material. What they're missing is the negatives and the photos and some of the documents they don't have, which I think is crucial. All of their questions are not answered, and I feel that they are definitely deserve that. And we're here for justice, not just for Clayton, but justice for us all, because some of these police officers are still on the police force that are being accused of some of the wrongdoing that happened to Clayton that night of May 4th, 1990.
Police should not be investigating themselves, let's face it. They're never going to be guilty, they investigate themselves. And the worst thing of all was that it got the hopes up of the Millers, who deserve answers.
I'm originally from the UK, so it's the first time here and I've read a lot, so I support the cause. I've been through 3 murders myself, so hence being here.
I think it's very important, not just for the people of this community and the family, but for people all over the world, that this sort of thing gets addressed and stopped as much as possible. I see the support growing. I think it's a wonderful thing. I think today was absolutely fantastic that people came out and joined this family in their protest against this absolute injustice.
Well, what I want to know is, what do you think of the results of the investigation?
What investigation? That's what I think about that investigation.
Okay.
We want to thank everybody for showing up, making signs. We want to thank Anonymous for making the trip down here to be with us for the walk. Michael McGinnis from Owls Cove, that is awesome. He's out there every day. And for the donations that everyone gave to get us closer to be able to get the investigator. You people are awesome. And I know Clayton is watching us, and he's so proud of everybody that has helped out in any way, every way that they possibly can. And that's from a baby that wasn't even born yet to the oldest person, and I don't know how old that is, and I'm not asking. So, thank you very much. And there's somebody that's special to our family and to everybody, because all I have to do is send her a message and she's doing it. Lisa Cameron.
I don't think the last investigation was done thoroughly. There was no transparency, and we all know that something terrible happened to Clayton that weekend, and it's time for the truth to come out. And if anybody out there has any answers, the time will be now to come out and tell your story. Justice for Clayton Miller.
When Clayton was injured, there wasn't just one officer doing so, there was multiple individuals. So that being said, they can't prosecute just one individual for Clayton's murder. There's more than one individual at hand, and that being said, there's not enough manpower to arrest all the individuals that were on the police force that helped in Clayton's death. There shall be light brought to justice, and there'll be peace for the Millers, and there'll be more than one culprit that'll be brought to life.
He was facing that way, and they wouldn't take a picture of him in that position. At the hospital, they turned it that way, and I think they put this here, and, you know.
Dr. Bowe's report, he says that you're saying that, but it must have been a severely emotional event for you. So, and your objective that day was not to make detailed observations of the position of your son's body. That's what Dr. Bowe says. Can you imagine finding your son face down in a brook?
Would you forget?
And not noticing the position of his mouth and nose in the water? Ask yourself that question. Also ask yourself why there were 4 police at the autopsy of a boy who fell down in the brook. This took place the day after he was found, long before any allegations were made against the family. There's never a reason for 4 police officers at an autopsy. If anybody can give a reasonable explanation for that, I may possibly change my opinion of some things with this case. But I cannot conceivably come up with an explanation for 4 police officers at the autopsy of a boy who fell in the brook with an unremarkable death. Besides that, in those days, there were 3 officers on duty in the Waterford per shift, and there were 4 at the autopsy. So one of those 4 officers would have to have been called in as well. There's no one else policing the town while the autopsy is going on. Would that be a likely scenario, do you think? I think not.
In '98, when I picked Parliament Hill,
Right.
one of my sisters called me, she said, do you think there'll ever be something we can get done that we'd like done? I said, I seen a piece on television of an honest forensic pathologist. There's no question, he is honest. That's it, because of what he did. And we ended up getting, my sister got hold of him, got him involved. And he explained to us and the public that he had 5 or 6,000 autopsies under his belt. And he said in a written report to us, pulmonary emphysema in the beginning, the inquiry, dry drowning, the exhumation, exposure, okay? He said none of them things can be because the physical signs are not there to support them. But there are physical signs there, and they indicate the chokehold. That's from the best of the best.
Dr. Lewis Rowe.
Yeah, from the States.
Yeah. They choose to ignore that. He also said that afterwards, most likely, his body was moved
Yes.
and put in the brook.
Imagine.
Sometime between Saturday and Sunday when the body was found.
Oh, and there's a big issue got to be kept onto about like if he laid in the brook that long, even according to Dr. Johnny.
Not a bug bite.
What?
For one thing, not a bug bite.
No, but you go home and lay in the tub for an hour and look at your fingers and toes and your skin. He's supposed to be there since a day and a half. Think about it.
There was no crime scene photos taken. Not one. No crime scene was taped off. No photos were taken. No record was kept of anything. That was unheard of. If you've got somebody dead, you map the whole place out, what position the body was in, all of this, so you can find out exactly what happened, because everything, every detail could be evidence. But instead, they let Jervy go down there, pull his son out of the brook. Even a cop assisted him, taking him out of the brook. No crime scene photos were done. I mean, crime scene photos are like police 101. That'd be like firemen in a fire truck coming up to a burning house, pulling up in front of it, then taking out newspapers and sitting there reading. Somebody comes along and asks them, hey, shouldn't you be like putting some hoses on that house or something? And they just go, we know how that fire started. We don't have to worry about it. That's basically what happened here when you don't do a crime scene. What we need to find out, and I think this is where the truth lies, if we can find out why the police didn't do a crime scene, why they didn't take any photos, then we'll get to the truth.
I would just like to say that I'm a friend of Clayton, and that this is a great injustice both to the Miller family, to Clayton Miller, and the community at large, to all of Canadians who look towards law enforcement for help. Prime Minister Harper needs to investigate this Nova Scotia government, because obviously 3 levels of government have shown that they also will sweep this under the rug. Something has to be done. Somebody needs to come forward. Somebody needs to step up and make a difference for everyone. Nobody should live in fear, as many do. Nobody needs to be silenced anymore. This is Canada. This is a free country, and we just want justice for a young boy who was murdered, and that murder then covered up. We want Jervy to be able to put down his sign, and we want the Miller family to go on and live their life without fear.
Thank you all, everybody, and if I missed anybody, which I don't think I did, everybody, thank you.